Hey, what's going on, guys? This is JD Moon, and I'm coming at you guys with another Diablo 3 build video. This is going to be my Herald of the Light build video for Crusader. Basically, it is going to be for Season 14, and I am running Greater Rift 84 right now. That's what I've been farming on. I've been running the higher end rifts and working my way up to the hundreds, and it will, I will get there. A little bit more time, but I am on the boards now. So basically I want to kind of dive into what I've got in the setup, how I went ahead and set up my Crusader. I went back to the old school Invoker set, and I think they made some really decent changes in the last patch and up through this patch as well. So let's go ahead and dive into gear, and I will show you guys what I'm running. Alright, so on the body, the 6-piece set that we're running is going to be Thorns of the Invoker. So for those of you guys who don't know what the Invoker is, the 2-piece set gives your Thorns damage now, hits all enemies in a 15-yard radius around you. Each time you hit an enemy with Punish, Slash, or Block an attack, your Thorns is increased by 140% for 2 seconds. On the 4-piece set, you take 50% less damage for 2 seconds after damaging an enemy with Bombardment. And on the 6-piece set, the attack speed of Punish and Slash are increased by 50% and deal 5,400% of your Thorns damage to the first enemy hit. Alright, so let's go ahead and look at what else we have on for gear. So for the belt, we're going to be using Belt of the Trove. This is going to shoot a bombardment down every 8 seconds, so it's got great synergy with our Invoker set, and it's going to be our main source of mitigation, along with the Aquila Cuirass, which as long as we're above 90% primary resource, then our damage taken is reduced by 50. We're also running the Traveler's Pledge, Compass Rose set. That 2-piece, while moving, damage taken is reduced by up to 50%, and while standing still, damage dealt is increased by up to 100. Now, for our other piece of jewelry, we're running Justice Lantern. It is by far just one of the best jewelry pieces you can run on a Crusader. It's going to give us everything we want, from block cost to also damage reduction based off of how much our block chance is. As well as what I'm running on the sword is I'm running a Doombringer. Now, I do notice that a lot of guys who are running Invoker setups, they were running, like Pig Sticker, and I believe some of them were running, some other daggers that were out there. But I have found that the Doombringer is the best thing so far that I can find, because where the Pig Sticker is only going to give you increased damage to humans and beasts, the Doombringer is going to increase our physical damage by 19% across the board, and maximum, I believe, of 20. We are running Akarat's Awakening as our shield. I was lucky enough to get a primal. It doesn't have all the primary stats that I want, but it is by far better than the Akarat's Awakening that I had before. And for those of you who don't know what Akarat's Awakening is, every successful block has a 25% chance to reduce all cooldowns by 1 second. So it's really important for this build, considering everything we use, except for Punish, has a cooldown. Alright, now let's look at attributes. Okay, so what we want on the primary stats, we want Strength, Vitality, and Resist All. We're not going for any crit bonuses on this build because crit really doesn't matter. Our major damage is going to come from our secondary, which is going to be the Thorns damage. So you want to make sure you have Thorns damage. And a perfect roll is going to give you increased resist of some kind, whether it's arcane, poison, fire, whatever the case may be. And our second one here is going to be the shoulders, and on the shoulders we're going to go for Strength, Vitality, and we would prefer Resist All, and then cooldown reduction. Unfortunately, we don't have a perfect roll on these ancient shoulders, so we will just have to wait on that deal. But the Thorns damage is 7,772, so that's why I haven't passed up those shoulders. And for the gloves, we have Strength, Vitality, Resist All, as well as cooldown reduction, and also we have an augmented strength buff on there as well, with also Thorns damage as well. And on our bracers, we have physical damage is increased, strength and vitality. That critical resist would be, or I'm sorry, that critical chance would be changed to either life on hit or some kind of cooldown reduction or resist all. We also have thorns damage and fire resistant on those. Now, also with the Doombringer, the perfect secondary would be thorns damage, but we will deal with the stun on hit is fine for now. We get 9,500 thorns out of the Akrat's Awakening secondary. And on the Aquila Curus, we have strength, vitality. You want to get resist all, but thorns is more important, so thorns needs to be added on there first, and then look for one that's going to give you strength, vitality, resist all, and then get thorns as well. Preferably this would be a Heart of Iron, but I haven't come across a good enough Heart of Iron yet that I'm going to replace that Curus with. Alright, and then on our Belt of the Trove, we're going to have strength, vitality, resist all. I have armor on there because I decided to go ahead and go with the additional thorns damage, but I mean, ideally you would get like Punish or something like that, or Bombardment on there. And then we have a 250 strength augmentation on there as well. Now the pants, we have strength, vitality, armor, because I have not come across a pair of pants that gives me resist all, so armor will work for now. And we have a 270 strength augmentation as well, with 3,000 thorns damage on the secondary. Now on the boots, we have 550 strength, 649 vitality, 115 resist all, and regenerate health, because the resist all was more important than move speed. Now on the Traveler's Pledge, we have strength, vitality. You're going to want vitality on just about everything with this setup because of Heart of Iron, so you definitely want to make sure you have vitality. I've got life per hit on this one because that's, in my opinion, really, really important for this particular build. It's going to allow us to sit up in the shit and just keep going. And we have thorns damage and reduced damage from melee attackers. Now, moving on to the Compass Rose, we have strength, vitality, reduced cooldown, 11 movement speed, and preferably we would like thorns on that, but we don't have that roll yet. And same thing with the Lantern, strength, vitality, block chance, life on hit. And I would like to have thorns on there, but unfortunately we haven't gotten that yet either. Okay, so now moving on over to the cube. Let's go ahead and zoom out here, looking at the cube here. We're going to have Blood Brother as our weapon in the cube. That's going to give us a 20% increased block chance, as well as whenever we successfully block our next attack, it's going to inflict 30% more damage. So this is a really important part of this build. Heart of Iron is what we have in the cube. That's going to change to Aquila Curus once we get a better Heart of Iron for the chest. And then we have Convention of Elements is what we're using as our jewelry buff. That's going to give us 200% increased damage of a single element, and whenever it hits to physical, you will know it, I promise. Alright, now looking at Paragon real quick. So we're going to jump over to utility. First things first, you're going to want to go area damage, life per hit. Then you can go either reduce cost reduction or gold fine, whichever one you choose, doesn't really matter. Defensive tree, we're going to go resist all, life percentage, armor, and then life regeneration. Then offensive, we're going to go attack speed. I'm sorry, cooldown reduction first, then we're going attack speed, critical hit damage, and then critical hit chance. For our core, we go 50 into movement speed, then we're doing a 50 in vitality, a 50 in strength, and then we're doing another 50 in strength and another 50 in vitality after that. So that's how the Paragon's going to get set up. Now, I am running 84 Greater Rifts right now. I'm about to run one for you guys so you can go ahead and see how this build works out. Let me go ahead and put on the correct ability here. I run Laws of Justice, Decaying Strength on this. I run the horse whenever I'm doing like, you know, what do you call them? Fuck. Anyways, the things where you get the special crafting shit, I forget. You get them from Tyrael. So let's go ahead and go over passives real quick, and then we'll go over skills first. Skills, I'm running Punish, and then we are running the Celerity rune, and what that's going to do is Punish alone is going to increase our block chance by 15%, and then whenever you block with Hardened Senses active, you gain a 15% increased attack speed for 3 seconds. Then we have Laws of Justice. We're using Decaying Strength. What Laws of Justice does, the passive is recite the law, granting you and your allies 140 increased resistance to all elements. This is going to be really important, especially later on once you get into higher rifts. And then the active is empowering the law, granting you and your allies 490 increased resistance to all elements for 5 seconds. In addition, while the law is empowered, any enemy who attacks you or your allies will have their damage reduced by 15% for 5 seconds, stacking up to a maximum of 60%. Now, our main source of damage is going to be our Iron Skin. What this is going to do is you absorb 50% of all incoming damage for 4 seconds. While active, your Thorns is increased by 300%, so that's going to be really big. Bombardment, calling it a solid blah blah blah, does 2850 of total weapon damage. We are using the one that's Barrel of Spikes. That's each barrel is increased by 200% of my Thorns. And then we're running Consecration, and what this is going to do is it's going to heal us for 10 seconds for 32,185 life per second while standing in the consecrated ground. And then the consecrated ground becomes covered in nails. Enemies that walk into the area take 100% of your Thorns damage every second. So this is just nice, really good passive damage with really good healing attribute attached to it as well. I'm running Akarat's Champion. I think it's just too good to pass up. I know a lot of guys were running the attack speed law, but I think the 35% increased damage while getting 15% increased attack speed with this Akarat's Champion is just too good to pass up. Now for passives, I'm running Iron Maiden. This is going to increase our Thorns damage by 50%. And I'm also running Phantasm, which is going to increase our Punish by 15, or attack speed for Punish by 15%. I'm running Hold Your Ground to increase our block chance by 30%, and then Fervor, which is going to increase our attack speed again by another 50% and reduce our cooldowns by 15% because we have a one-handed weapon. So now we are about to go jump into a rift here. I'm going to run it on 84. So let me just go ahead and make sure I don't have anything I need to do before we go do this. We're going to go jump right into there. Oh, I do need to actually go over my gems. So I'm running diamonds across the board for increased resist all and then cooldown reduction as well. Now the potion that I run as well is going to be the one that's going to give me increased resist all, because you'll find later on as a strength character you have a lot of armor, which is going to reduce like melee damage and shit like that, but and physical damage. But whenever you're dealing with a elite that's got a shitload of fucking, you know, elemental damage, that shit gets really painful. So here we go. We're gonna go ahead and start this Greater Rift, and we are gonna run it on 84, and here we go.
Many Nephilim have stood where you are now, but few succeeded in overcoming.
As you can see, you can run these graders with some pretty relative ease in this setup.
I enjoyed that.
What I always try and do is just run past all the trash. Until you get them nice lumped up, you can just take them all out. And then just move on. I try and find elites as quick as I can.
The crusade marches on. enjoyed that. Had enough? Had enough?
These bastards right here with the arcane are the bane of my existence. I hate
Not
them.
ready yet.
Gotta get out of that crap. You can see I can probably be running about like 90. Well, close to not 86.
Crusade marches on.
But this is what I farm on right here. It's just farming on these 84s.
Crusade marches on. Not yet. Like chaff before the wind. My faith is rewarded. A foe worth killing. Not ready yet. By the light be damned! By the light be damned!
The Rift Guardian is here.
And that's it.
I'm here to help.
All right,
returning to
and
town.
also so you guys know as well what gems I'm using. So we're using Borker's chip, Boyarsky's chip, and I'm running Gogok of Swiftness. I really like this gem. I think it suits the playstyle of this build very well. It's going to increase our attack speed, increases the dodge chance, but that doesn't matter because we can't dodge anyways. And then also on top of that, at 25, it gains gives us cooldown reduction for each stack that we have on the Swift as well. So, and then we're running Bane of the Trapped to give us that extra damage of 40%. So yeah, that's the build. That was Greater Rift 84. As you can see, like it wasn't even a challenge. So now you guys can kind of get an idea of you know, how to build a Crusader Thorns build for in-game Diablo 3. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you guys out there on the battlefield.